All right, here we go. We are a little over a week away from the start of the SEC season. Intel, we've been delivering stuff that we've heard, whispers. Some of it's been on message boards, some of it's been in communication with our network of team insiders. And boy, do we leverage that thing every single day. We should have to pay so much money for that, but we don't because they're our friends. And so I got a few places that I want to take you tonight to let you know what's happening. We were certainly not the first in the clubhouse, but we were pretty ahead of the curve on the D'Wan Mathis deal at Georgia. Had some Georgia fans in really salty fashion questioning what in the world we could possibly know in the comment section about D'Wan Mathis starting for Georgia. Well, D'Wan Mathis is going to start the Arkansas game for Georgia. Kirby Smart hasn't made that official. I'm telling you right now, unless he comes down with something in the next week or unless he gets hurt in the next week, he's going to be your starting quarterback. JT Daniels is still not medically cleared. I can't stress that enough. There's always just been this assumption. I think someone said it 2 months ago, and everyone just started believing it because someone said it, that he would magically be cleared by the time the start of the season rolled around. Well, he hasn't been yet. So we got to revisit this if and when some doctor up there says, okay, you're good to play. The feedback that we've gotten about D'Wan Mathis is about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he started to have a surge in camp. I had several players on Georgia's team currently talking about it, had other people behind the scenes there talking about it, and I said, really? Okay. Because you get feedback like that from 50 different camps this time of year. So then we start to filter that out, and the same people are talking D'Wan Mathis up a week later. And I took more note. And what we've eventually gotten to is it's his job right now. That's where we think we are. In fact, that's where I know we are with Georgia as of today. Now, here's the feedback you get. Here's the expectation level. People tell you he's a phenomenal athlete, he's a freak athlete. There are going to be some moments where you go, wow. And then there are going to be some moments where you go, what? Kind of like Jeff Sims last week with Georgia Tech. Jeff Sims, that opening drive, you say, look at this quarterback for Georgia Tech. What in the world did he just do? I don't think the second part is going to be allowed to happen by Kirby Smart. Because, see, here's what Kirby Smart knows he has. He knows he's got multiple future NFL offensive linemen, multiple future NFL running backs. He's got very dependable and physical assets at wide receiver like George Pickens, the guy Colin's showing you right now. And he knows he's got a 6'6" freak athlete at quarterback who can fall forward for him on any third and short situation, and also a guy who can make plays with his legs on broken third and long situations. I don't know how many times they are going to be throwing the ball, is what I'm telling you. So if you'll remember last year, I want to say it was, they opened against Vanderbilt on the road, and everyone was excited. They thought there were going to be more elements incorporated into the offense. And as soon as Kirby Smart and Dan Lanning and them figured out that Vanderbilt couldn't get a first down on them, they shut it down. And I don't think the Arkansas game will be any different. They'll go in there, they'll figure out Arkansas can't move the ball on us, and then they'll shut it down. And they'll get out of there. They don't care if it's 17-6, 20-3. They don't care. They'll get out of there, and they would have bought themselves at that time one more week. You could think about that as one more week of camp. That's essentially what I think about the Georgia-Arkansas game, even though this isn't a game breakdown. I'll tell you the other thing to watch in that Arkansas game, though, and to listen to if you're a Georgia fan close to the scene up there, obvious passing downs. In other words, obvious pass sets where pass pro is going to be something you can focus on. If you sit in there 3rd and 7, for example, I'm not going to say I lack confidence. I don't have the slightest clue what to expect from Georgia in pass pro early on. I know the returns out of their camp have been, hey, run blocking well ahead of pass pro here. Not shocking, but what was the entire gripe at the end of last year? Man, in order to get over these humps, Alabama or LSU in that case, we got to be able to stretch the field, push the ball down the field. Well, you got to be able to pass pro in order to do that. So you're not going to play an SEC title game in week 1. You're playing Arkansas in week 1, but you got to be able to eventually get there. So that's what we're watching with and hearing from Georgia. How about this question as we kind of transition from Georgia to Alabama? I had a Georgia guy ask me in the podcast today, what do I think about 2 quarterback systems? And I kind of tied it into what I thought is just one of the dumbest comments people make about quarterbacks. It's one of those where someone said it one time, and it sounded cool, like it would look good on a bumper sticker, so it just stuck. And it's not true automatically. Someone said, well, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks, which is trash. It's totally false. Here's what happens. What happens sometimes is you got a quarterback battle, and the reason it's a battle is because you got 2 stud quarterbacks. You could also have a situation where you got no stud quarterbacks and neither one of them's emerged. And so both of those are categorized as quarterback battles. They are night and day different situations. So I'm telling you all that to tell you this. As much as everyone's been talking about the two quarterback situation at Georgia, I'm telling you, I look at Alabama as having a two quarterback situation right now. And by that, I mean two of them they think they can win with. I'm telling you, they feel confident. If Mac Jones disappeared from this planet tonight and they knew they had to start Bryce Young against Missouri next week, they'd be comfortable with it. It may change some things. They'd be comfortable with it. They think he's going to be a star. Steve Sarkisian and that offensive staff really think he's going to be a star. My mind goes back to a couple of years ago when we were hearing similar things about Tua Tagovailoa. No one told you, dude, Jalen Hurts sucks. It was the opposite. Jalen Hurts is really good. So Mac Jones is really good. But this guy behind him is really good too. And so it took until halftime of the national title game for us to see Tua Tagovailoa play meaningful downs for Alabama that year. I don't think I need to remind you how that game and that season ended. And the point being, I just have to wonder if it changed anything about Nick Saban's approach. As of this moment, I don't think there's much doubt Mac Jones is the guy there. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I don't think there's any doubt he's the guy who takes the field against Missouri. The only thing that I'm suggesting to you is I go back to that year. You know, that was a year, those Jalen and Tua years. And this is why it was an ironic statement from a Georgia fan telling me, hey, you got two quarterbacks, you have none. Dude, both of those years, a two-quarterback team beat you. One time for a national title, one time for an SEC title. Did Saban have two quarterbacks or no quarterbacks? I think he had two quarterbacks. So you could have a situation in Athens and Tuscaloosa this year, ultimately, where you got two quarterback situations. The only thing I care about is, do you have two you can win with, one you can win with, or none that you think you can win with? You got to be a lot more nuanced in your understanding of this than just saying, oh, there's a quarterback competition here, or oh, they got a quarterback controversy, which is a statement we never say on this program. We believe in competition, not controversy. The only thing controversial is if none of them can win, because then the controversy is what in the world are we going to do? So I say all that, and I'll move on after this. Remember, as much as your opinion may be formulated on a lot of this stuff, if you're a Bama fan, go back to a few years ago. You were going into, I believe, a season opener against Southern California. And Blake Barnett was a former five-star guy, and it was his time. And it was his team. I think that was the year after Coker, I believe. Anyway, so Blake Barnett, the entire spring, the entire summer, the entire fall camp series, that's the guy. He's going to be the starter, and there's this kid from Texas who probably going to take a couple of years to develop. Then you get a little bit further into camp. Hey, that Jalen Hurts kid, like, there are whispers he's pretty good. He's going to be able to be a player in the future. Then you get closer to game week, and Jalen Hurts, could he be pushing for like legitimate playing time? But you had it in your mind the whole summer. It's Blake Barnett's job. So you went month on end thinking this is Blake Barnett's job. Over the span of like 30 minutes, it changed in that season opener. And what I'm telling you is that's how quickly this stuff can change. You got 3 or 4 series that go bad, and then you got a guy come in and light it up. That's how quickly it can change. This is not Major League Baseball. You don't play 162 games. Every snap is so meaningful, especially in this league this year where you're playing 10 conference games. There is no Catawba Community College on your schedule, to steal a local reference geographically from back home. So all I'm saying is 2 quarterback situations could exist far outside of just Athens, Georgia this year. Now, how about Florida as we wrap up this segment? How about Florida and specifically offensive line, which is where we start and end the questions with Florida virtually every year now, it seems. I was looking at Thomas Goldcamp, had some really good coverage and thoughts on this over at Swamp 24/7 yesterday or today. This is the key to Florida season. As I said, it always seems to be. Thomas Goldcamp made some good points here, and I'm not so sure I don't agree with him. I think he looks at the situation, and they are not All-American caliber by any stretch at a lot of these positions, especially tackle, and I, like him, am still concerned about their ability when they face elite edge rushers, and it's going to happen several times a year when you play in the league Florida does. Yeah, I'm not saying they're without concern, but I think there is promise to be found here in the fact that they do return a lot of guys. Returning starters is not the end-all, be-all. But they got a combination here that I think is promising. They got returning experience, and finally, they got a group of guys that aren't having to learn a new system again. And it's been a rotating door of different philosophies down there for a little while if you're a Florida offensive lineman. So, yeah, they may have question marks at tackle and what is the best combination. Do you have true SEC caliber offensive tackles playing tackle? Or do you got guys that have really more been recruited to play interior, having to kick out there for lack of options? Yeah, that's a question. But I'll tell you one thing you can't take solace in. I don't think you'll see a ton of confusion. So if they don't get it done, it's just because they're flat out not good enough. I don't think it's going to be a lot of, well, he's talented. Why did he whiff there? there you go. Week 1, week 2, week 3, installation problems. Don't think that's going to be the theme with Florida this year.